tonight, Wayne Mutants, One More Time. With Wayne's guests, Frankie Laine, the Mills Brothers, Johnny Ray, K-Star, with the music of Count Basie and his orchestra, Charlie Barnett, Louis Belson, Les Brown, Louis Jordan, Paul Weston and his orchestra, with special guest star Tennessee Ernie Ford. Brought to you by
STP Corporation, makers of STP oil treatment. STP is the racer's edge.
Ladies and gentlemen, Wayne Newton.
Hello, my honey, hello, my baby, hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire, baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me, then you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone, tell me I'm your own. Hello, my ragtime gal, send me a kiss by wire, baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me, then you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone, tell me I'm your own. I said, hello, my honey, hello, my baby, yeah, hello, my ragtime gal. Let's do it. One time. Now rock-a-bye your baby with a melody. When you croon, you have got a crooner too. From a heart of Dixie, I swing that cradle in my mind, right on that music, dig it out. I swing it from Virginia, did it share it all alone, said yeah. Are we no more, mammy, my lady? Mammy, I didn't mean to leave home. Sing it one time with me. I saw the love, it just as though you had me on your knee. Oh, many baby kisses on the river. The minute that you sing that swarming river, rock-a-bye, yeah, rock-a-bye, baby, with a Dixie melody. Let it get good now, huh? We've no more, my lady. I sing that song one time for me. Turn that big band loose. That's something low. Yes, and oh, you had me on your million baby kisses I'll deliver. The minute that you sing that old swanee river, rock-a-bye, you rock-a-bye, baby, with a Dixie melody. Take it home, huh? We've no more, my lady. Hey, sing that song, sing it just one time for me. That's something low, it does as though you had me on your knee. Oh, million baby kisses I'll deliver. The minute that you sing that old swanee river, rock-a-bye, you rock-a-bye, baby, with a Dixie. Oh, Dixie melody. Ooh, yeah. our show. The whole theme of our show is one more time. We have some wonderful guest stars who are responsible for some of the greatest moments in music, and among them, your friend and mine, and our special guest star, Mr. Tennessee Ernie Ford. We got a lot to do tonight. Let's get to it. Hey, rockabye! You rockabye, baby, with a Dixie.
In 20 years of auto racing, Andy Granatelli, head of the STP Corporation, has picked up a lot of hardware. And the cars he's brought to the Indy 500, like the revolutionary STP turbine car, they've taken some hard wear, too. Friction and wear from mile after pounding mile. That's why Granatelli's cars all have STP oil treatment on their side. STP is the racer's edge. It cuts the friction, cuts the wear, and it cuts the mustard. And not only in Granatelli's cars, STP keeps more than 2 out of every 3 cars at Indy running racer sharp. Help your family car run smoother, cooler, quieter, longer. Have your gasoline station add STP to your oil.
STP is the racer's edge.
Gentlemen, tonight we're going to recreate some of the greatest moments in music, and with us we have the people who made those moments great. Now, there's nothing I'd rather do than stand here for the next 4 days and tell you how proud I am to have them on our show, but I'm sure you'd rather hear them sing. Right now, a man every singer looks up to, Mr. Frankie Laine.
If ever was born without a pair of horns, it was you. Jezebel, it was you. If ever an angel fell, Jezebel, it was you. Jezebel, it was you. If ever a pair of eyes promised paradise, deceiving me, leaving me, believe. Jezebel, it was you. If ever the devil's plan was made to torment man, it was you. Night and day, every way. Oh, Jezebel, Jezebel.
And now one of the biggest hits of all time by a great singer and a beautiful lady, Miss Kay Starr.
Oh, wheel of fortune, oh, spinning around, will the arrow point my way? Will this be my day? While the wheel is spinning.
sing. Ooh, she sure does sing. I gotta tell you, no quartet ever sounded like this before, and no quartet ever will again. The fantastic Mills Brothers.
The lazy, lazy river in the noonday sun, lingered in the shade of a guide old tree. Throw away your troubles, dream a dream with me. Oh, up the lazy river where the robins song. So it's a bright new morning where we can all along. Blue skies up above, everyone's in love. Oh, up the lazy river, how happy you can be. Oh, up the lazy river with me. Now, now, now. Oh, up the lazy river, the robin's song. Oh, it's a bright new morning where we can go along. Blue skies up above, everyone's in love. Oh, up the lazy river, how happy you can be. Up the lazy river.
Excitement. And speaking of excitement, we have a performer that just about invented the word, the inimitable Mr. Johnny Ray.
If your sweetheart sends a letter of goodbye, it's no secret you feel better if you cry. When waking from a bad dream, don't you sometimes think it's real, but it's only false emotions that you feel. If your heart is seems to hang around and your blue keeps getting blue with each song. Well, now remember, sunshine can be found behind the cloudy sky. So let your head down and go right on, baby, and cry.
As delighted as I am to have those wonderful people on my show, I got to tell you, I'm not stupid enough to try to follow them. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time proudly presents our second commercial.
I'm a salesman, and that means I'm on the road maybe 3 or 4 days a week. That's a lot of high-speed driving and a lot of wear and tear on the car. So I have my service station at STP to the oil.
STP is the racer's edge.
I had this noise in my engine, and my son told me about STP. And when I went to the service station, I asked him to add it to my oil, and he did. Now the noise is gone.
STP is the racer's edge.
At Indy last year, I noticed all these STP stickers on the race cars, and I figured if I use it in my car, it might run better. So I put some in. Now it runs really great.
STP is the racer's edge.
When I was 17, It was a very good year. It was a very good year for small town girls and soft summer nights. We would hide from the lights on the village green when I was 17. Singers who can smoke and sing and even drink all at the same time. Hey, you know what else is frustrating? Is that there's so many songs that I can't sing only because of my age. For instance, if I wanted to do one for my baby and one more for the road, you know what would happen? They'd probably ask me for my ID card. and you know, I'd love to sing about the good old days, but the good old days for me were back around, June or July. If I really wanted to reminisce, it would have to sound like, when I was 7 months, it was a very good year. It was a very good year for baby girls with toothless friends. We shared our vitamins, even swapped our diaper pins when I was 7 months. You know, everybody talks about how poor they were when they were kids. I gotta tell you, we were poor. We were so poor, Mom couldn't even afford talcum powder. And one time she used baking powder on my big brother. And you know what happened? He broke out in cookies. And I didn't even buy my brother's hand-me-down clothes except for the shoes, and they hurt my feet. Because by the time they got to me, they were bronze. Actually, my brother and I still share everything. Well, almost everything. And he's sharing this stage with me tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, a great talent and the finest brother guy ever had, my brother, Jerry Newton. Jerry. When I was 6 years old, it was a very good year. You know, my brother and I started show business when I was 6. I sang at school, and I sang at church, and
Tell him the truth.
What?
Tell him the truth.
I am telling the truth. We did sing at school and church.
Yeah, but they hated it when he sang in church. You think his voice is high now? You should have heard him then.
Careful, I'm going to tell the folks about this.
Mom always did like you the best. So cute, Texas farm, long curls, big dark hair.
When I had reached 14, it was a very good year. For it was then the girls all noticed I'd gotten bigger every day. But hip, 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 hooray. Baby, so did they. When I had reached 14. You know, when a kid reaches 14, they seem to know a lot more than their parents. For instance, when I was 14, I had to write an essay on my origin. So I walked up to my mother and I said, Mom, where'd you come from? She said, Detroit. I said, no, I don't mean that. I mean, how did you come into the world? She said, well, just like you, the stork brought me. So I went to my grandmother and I says, Grandma, where'd you come from? She said, well, I dropped down from heaven. So I sat down and wrote my essay, and it began, apparently, in our family, there have been no natural births for 3 generations. And in the autumn of my prime, that's life. That's what they say. You're riding high and able, but you're shot down in me. I know I'm gonna change that too. when I'm back on top in June. I said that's life, funny as it seems. Some people get their kick out of stomping on a dream, but I know I'm not gonna let it get me down, for this whole world keeps on spinning round. I've been a puppet, a pumper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn, and a king. I've been up and down and over and out, and I know one thing. Just when I think I'm about flat on my face, I pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life. Hey, I can't deny it. Lord knows I thought of quitting, but my heart just won't buy it. If I didn't think it was at least worth a try, I just roll myself up in a big ball and die. I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn, and a king. I've been up and down and over and out, and I know one thing. Just when I think I'm about flat on my face, I pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life, yeah. I can't deny it. Lord knows I thought of quitting, but my heart just won't buy it. If I didn't think it was at least worth a try, I would just roll myself up in a big ball and die.
Almost 20 years ago, Andy Granatelli drove here at the Indianapolis 500. At a more recent 500, Andy Granatelli created a machine and a revolution with the STP turbine car. The man who heads up the STP division of Studebaker knows racing and cars.
Most of the drivers here at the 500 use STP oil treatment. It's the best method known of cutting friction.
At Indy, 3 out of 4 drivers have STP on their side. STP is the racer's edge.
STP works great in your family car, same as it does here at the Speedway.
STP keeps any car, old or new, running smoother, cooler, quieter, longer. Have your service station crew add STP to your oil.
STP is the racer's edge.
Orchestra. Thank you. And that's the swinging sound of the great Count Basie in his orchestra, and it serves to introduce our tribute to the great big bands and their famous leaders. So let's say one more time to the sound of Cherokee and Mr. Charlie Barnett. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest hit makers of all time, Mr. Louis Jordan.
Hey, is you is or is you ain't my baby. The way you acting lately makes me doubt. I want to tell you that you is still my baby, baby. Seems my flame in your heart done gone out. A woman is a creature that has always been strange. Just when you're sure the one you find, she's gone and made a change. Is you is or is you ain't my baby. Maybe baby's found somebody new. Or is my baby still my baby true?
From Vietnam to New York City, the whole world knows the man of renown, Mr. Les Brown. Let's say one more time to our conductor and his great composition, Day by Day, Mr. Paul Weston. And now the best beat in the business by my buddy, Mr. Louis Bolson. back right after station identification.
With a lot more go. It's a little. Just pour in a can of STP treatment every 1,000 miles or so, and it starts pouring on the power. It tunes your engine as you drive and reduces knocking, clears all the power-robbing dirt and gum out of your fuel line, and keeps spark plugs firing clean. It even prevents your carburetor from icing up in the winter, and it does it all for 65 cents. Next time you fill up your tank, toss in STP gas treatment. You'll feel the difference with the very first can. New STP gas treatment from the makers of world-famous STP oil treatment that put the spring back in your car.
Ladies and gentlemen, my great friend and a great guy, Mr. Tennessee Ernie Ford.
Oh, how nice to see you.
Well,
and
thank
look
you.
at you.
Oh.
Trim and slim. You just keep pouring it off, don't you? You know, after he lost this weight, listen, I knew him before. I saw him last week in a pair of bathing trunks. You look like a pair of pliers with a Band-Aid wrapped around. But you look great.
Thank you
And
very
thanks
much.
for the nice treatment. Listen, I haven't had so much love and attention since I was in the hospital with a deviated septum.
Gee, it's too bad they didn't give you a room by yourself.
You learned to talk, haven't you? All right, we'll bandy around a few, okay? But wow, how nice to be on this show. Great performers you've had on this show. Gee, K-Star, Count Basie, the Mills Brothers, and Wayne Newton.
Well,
You
thank
bet.
very much. Thank you.
My admiration for you knows no bounds. You've been hiding your light under a bushel, young man.
Well, gee, would you
Spring forth.
would you join me in a song?
I thought you'd never. I'd love to. I'd consider it an honor and a privilege in a deviated septum.
Well, can't be too bad. I see we're still on the
We're
air.
still there.
Okay.
Any time you're feeling born.
I said anytime
Talk to me now.
that you're feeling blue.
Anytime
Oh, that's pretty.
you're thinking about me, that will prove.
Your love for
Yes.
me is true.
Now hit him with this next.
Your cheating heart
Oh, my, yes.
will make you weak.
You'll cry and cry and try to sleep.
But
sleep won't come the whole night through. Your cheating heart will tell on you.
Take it one.
All right. When tears come down like falling rain,